All right, three quick nuggets for today. Well, I don't know how quick it's going to be really. But the things are value and how value and belief are tied together. So what's the value of what we do for the top 15 industries, top 15 industries specifically? Some effective phoning tips just to make phoning more simple. I'm not gonna say easier. It is what it is. It's a heavy lift. And when we do it, daily, Monday through Friday. We pay that toll, we reap great rewards. But I got a couple of ideas, things that I know work really, really well to make phoning more effective. And then completing an appointment all the way to the finish. It's one of the biggest, most significant things when you look at consistent sales. Obviously, activity is way up there. So value, what is the value of what we do, right? So I'm reading this, you guys know I read a lot, a bit of a nerd, but it's a huge habit. It just makes me feel better. It's like one of my get my head right things, reading. And so there's a book I'm reading, an older book called Maps of Meaning by a Canadian psychologist, Jordan Peterson. It's one of his older books. It's very, very interesting, but he's in a segment where he's talking about how the value of something is really tied to our belief of something. Wow, right? I mean, it's neat when there are the concepts or principles that tie to everything, but very, very relevant in what we do. So I'm just going to run through here and look at, it's page 17 on the workbook. By the way, if you go into back office resources type workbook, always recommend, studying, mastering this thing all the time. Being a student of the business helps a ton. But these are the top 15 businesses. It actually says first 150 presentations. But if you look at like a Kathy Duran, who's sold 1 million in business plus year after year after year, has so many millions of business in terms of business revenue dollars, gross amount sales, all these things. She consistently keeps the top 15 businesses, sells multiple mini over and over and over, right? Why? Because there's great value. So she believes it because she understands it. So let's talk about some things, deepen our understanding of the value of what we do for these businesses. So first off, real estate agent. I know there were headlines earlier this year. They changed some, the Brokers Association, was in a bit of a lawsuit, things like that. But if you look at the price of a house, the average real estate agent gets what, like 3% on the deal? It could be more, they could double into things like that, but let's just say 3%. That's pretty sweet. So if you look at doing something in our publication, whether they do a full page, which is an incredible value, that's a beautiful way to put a giant, think about a full page showing up in the mailbox every single month. That's fantastic. All the way over to a community awareness campaign, eighth of a page, real estate agent should be doing something with this. It's a no-brainer to participate in the publication in some way, shape, or form. Something is better than nothing. We all know that. That's just fantastic. But think about that commission. Think about the home values in your neighborhood. Gosh, what does one home transaction do for that agent, right? Should cover their campaign at some level. All of it, depending on what ad says they go, it's just one transaction, right? Out of a whole year. That's crazy. Okay, restaurant, bar. Now, this has become a more and more popular industry for us, but it wasn't always like that, more in the last few years. So cost of, life has gone up in the US. That's just something that happens naturally. Everything costs more. The value of the dollar, a whole different kind of economical topic. But as that has happened, and people have really developed a habit of eating out more than maybe ever, super fascinating. So restaurants and bars have really become a top client. They buy a lot from us. So that's interesting. So they could do catering, right? One catering event could absolutely cover their ad, for a significant period of time, several months, just one catering event if the bar does that or restaurant. So pretty sweet stuff. Think about, that's one of the reasons they advertise, thinking big, thinking about, take your home count and then figure out what the average household size in your community is, somewhere between 2 and 3 usually in the US. So take your home count, multiply it by 2.5. That's how many people are receiving the ad. That's pretty significant, big deal. Insurance agent, there's a lot of stuff going on in the insurance world. So right now there is a big land grab by agents acquiring more clients, on the hunt for things like that. Consistently have been a top industry of ours, especially like State Farm agents, those ones that get support with marketing, but also local agents really put themselves out there. So financial advisors, wealth management, there's a few different types of financial advisors and wealth managers. Some of them work on like a fee base. There's different ways, but if you look at the communities we serve, that generally speaking, most folks are working with some sort of a financial advisor or know that they need to. I can't imagine. I used to work in wealth management, and education is such a critical part. I mean, expert contributor as a financial advisor, that's a no-brainer. But let's say you have one, right? So what's the value of having more financial advisors? Well, we know people want choices, they want options. They want to know that they want to know that the person running the publication isn't doing any exclusive side deals too. I've run into that before where someone actually asked me like, hey, how come you only have one mortgage broker in the magazine? I was like, oh, I've only had one that bought, right? This was early on as a publisher. So you just want to have diversity. But again, it's one of those businesses where even the acquisition of one client, you think of you got someone with 2 million in manageable assets, they come in and the fee is even 1% working with that advisor, they're good to go. They're happy with that, right? So it covers some advertising. So again, so belief and value. Just want to show that these are why these are our top people. Retirement assisted living home, not a cheap thing to go spend money on. So even ones that are full, right? They're like, we're at capacity, but they're always, they want to keep it at capacity. That's important. Give back to the community, reach the right people. They're not usually targeting, by the way. I remember learning this in one of my early senior care assisted living facilities that signed on. They said, yeah, Derek, we're not really targeting people that are, 70 or above or 60 or above. We usually target their kids because it's a group family decision when something like this happens. I'm like, oh, that's really good to know, right? So again, that's one of the reasons we're a perfect fit. Cleaning services. What's it cost to get a house clean? People are doing it bi-weekly, doing it weekly, monthly. That stacks up really fast for a cleaning service. Definitely should have multiple cleaning services in the publication. Landscaping, man, we're having so many big landscaping deals come in right now this time of year. Top client. Dental, I talked about this a little bit before, but customer lifetime value for a dentist. So it's called CLTV. You can do some research on this. For the average dentist, somewhere in the ballpark of $22,000 to $37,000 is what they earn over the lifetime of one new client that comes on board with them. So that's just one person. Again, think of all the teeth in your community. Take your home count, multiply it by 2 point whatever that is. That's how many people are out there. One client is that big of a win for a dentist. Super fantastic. Pets, vet care, Fido is not inexpensive to take care of. So anything to do with pets is a great fit. Fitness, again, one of those monthly membership, Orange Theory Fitness, 100 and something a month. We have all of these places. CrossFit's, I think, still popular. F45. There's a lot of other places, but any place where there's a monthly membership, for them, that's monthly recurring revenue, right? A lot like ours. I heard Mike Thatcher once call our business compounding profit, which is pretty neat. For anything where there's a monthly membership, they have compounding profit as well, stacking up members. And then they start building that word of mouth in our community, even if they already have it, but they get to expand it a ton. They just get the snowball effect of members for their fitness facility. Mortgage brokers, very similar to real estate agents in terms of percentage commission, good payday for them on transactions. Heating and air. I was just talking to a guy that does like a heating and air comfort sales role, and he goes out, meets with people, and it's crazy what what it costs, right? If you haven't had your heat and air conditioning replaced lately, think about it. Those things need to get replaced every 7 to 10 years on average, depends on usage, a lot of other things, who their manufacturer was, but they also need to get serviced pretty regularly. Sometimes there's repairs. Take your home count. This is not going to be a quick video, by the way. I know I said maybe quick, and then I kind of laughed earlier. Take your home count, multiply it by the average cost of like a new heating and air conditioning unit, 8,000, 10,000, 12,000, haven't replaced one recently, and then you see that there's tens of millions of dollars in potential revenue for a heating and air conditioning company in your community. Okay, keep going. Basically, this is what we want to be thinking about. Belief value. I'm not going to go through the rest of the list. I know I'm going, video's already turning a little bit longer, but belief and value, when you understand these things and what we do, the value is there. This is why our average order size just keeps trending up as well. More to offer, more value, pretty fantastic. So phoning. One of the most interesting things about the phone is we sometimes feel like we need to sell or talk a lot about what we do over the phone. But this is a quick like PSA announcement. Maybe it's even for myself as I'm just role playing phoning with folks. But what's the purpose of a phone call? To set an appointment. It's very normal for people to have questions, right? Well, can you tell me more about this? Can you email me something? Anything that is not an appointment is an objection. Yeah, sounds crazy, right? But anything that is not a firm appointment, a mutual commitment to go in there and sit down and discuss it is an objection, right? So when we think kind of black and white like that, I either got the appointment or I didn't. It helps us focus on the right action activity towards getting an appointment. So if you ever want to role play, go through some phoning, let me know. I'm here anytime, obviously. You know, with the email, it's just Lindsay Stafford, I think, was the first person to say, that I heard say, email is the death of a sale, right? Once we start emailing people, might as well just say goodbye. Because what happens in an email? Email gets flooded. They're like, what was I even talking about with this person? They have questions. It just bogs everybody down. Really good videos in back office on this. If you just type in email, they're in the sales tutorial area, but you can just type email in the back office and you'll see some really good videos, deeper dive on overcoming the email objection. Just remember the purpose is to get an appointment. Everything else happens in the appointment. So I even like when people are like, well, can you tell me more about this? Actually, yeah, I'm glad you asked. That's exactly why I called. I work with the residents in the La Jolla Cove community, and I actually have, some tools, things like that, right? So being agreeable is really helpful on the phone too. Notice how I didn't dive into a whole presentation or try to explain all those things. Simple, agreeable action item is towards the appointment meeting together. I also would avoid the words like presentation or anything that just sounds very heavy. We want to make it light and easy so that we can just, swing by, stop by, have a little bit of time here and here. We're making it very convenient and easy for the business owner. That makes them feel a little better about meeting with us, right? So that's really fantastic. So some things there on the phone. Last thing is, what's a complete appointment? So for those who've been around for a while, there was a period of time where we're doing these remote appointments, and part of the challenge was we get to the end of it, I've been on Zoom with someone for 30, 35, 40 minutes. It's really hard to keep someone's attention for that long. And then, can you email me something or whatever? Oh gosh, right? So that was a hard thing for a lot of us to master or figure out during those times. But for some reason, some people, right, not us, I'm talking about business owners, carried that habit back into their business. And so now you have what's considered an incomplete conversation. So sometimes you get someone that says, hey, can you just send me these numbers and I'll check them out later? So how do we prevent that, right? Well, one is having a good rein, a good grasp on the appointment. And so I share this because when we get to the end, what qualifies as I completed an appointment is I have gone through pricing with them and asked for the order, right? And we just want to make sure we do that on every single first appointment. And the example, and I've given this example a lot, so forgive me, but it stands out so clear in my mind as a personal experience that helped me really understand this. I met with a sushi restaurant. They had someone meeting with them before me. I watched him pack up his stuff and say, okay, I'll send you something. And he left. I know some of you heard this already, but this might be new for some of you. Then I sit down with them. We ran a complete appointment, right? It was a little challenging at times because they wanted to review some things and had to work through some objections. But at the end, we signed an agreement. What I discovered, since I was doing drop-offs, customer service, stopping by to eat there sometimes, love sushi, is they shared that they didn't end up doing business with the guy in front of me. When he left and said, I'll send you something, they literally spent the remaining amount of their marketing budget with me on on that appointment, on that first appointment from signing. So that is important to keep in mind so that we have our own urgency. We never want to be pushy. Obviously, that's not part of our culture, part of our sales program. But it is really, really important to keep in mind our own urgency and asking ourselves, how do we make this happen today? Or, figuring out getting all the way complete to a very clear spot. And curiosity, I've heard Denise Castellano talk about this a lot lately. I love it, talking about curiosity. Being curious is a really good way to make sure we don't miss anything and we can get all the way to the final component, the final part of the appointment. And that's it, right? So belief and value, some phoning tips, and complete appointment. Those are the three things. We are off to the races. I know it's partway through the day on Friday. Just took a little break, talking to a few folks, doing some role playing, some Zooms with you. I'm here, excited to keep seeing all of the great success. Really excited for Vegas on June 10th. Coming up soon. See you there, and I'm out.